Hello, in this lesson we're going to extend this hover effect so that when we move the mouse over an image, it not only magnifies the image, but it also displays the title and description at the bottom here. So to do that, I'm going to add another div. So let me just copy a div in, and to start with I'll just place it here, and we can see that it's been added to the parent div and it's been placed underneath the image. Now, rather than having it placed underneath the image, I can instead say I want it positioned relative to its parent. So I have to mark the parent as the sort of relative spot. And now I can say I want the position to be absolute, and I want to attach to the bottom of the parent. And then, hey presto, it's now attached itself to the bottom of this parent div. And I can also attach it to the right hand side. So if I say right 0 like this, it'll jump over and attach itself to the right. And if I say left 0, then provided it doesn't have a width, it will actually attach itself to the bottom and the left and the right simultaneously. And generally, if we have left 0, right 0 in CSS, this is shortened to inset. So inset x 0 means left 0 and right 0. So I'm now going to give it some content. So I'll actually put in the photo title and description like this. And notice that the title and the description are both text white, although the bottom one, this /80 means opacity of 80%. In other words, it's sort of slightly transparent. And the font sizes are slightly different. This is small font with semi-bold, and this is extra small font. So we can see the effect here. I'm going to tidy this up. I'm going to get rid of the red, the border, and I'll put a little bit of padding in and I don't need this height anymore because now the height is actually being determined by the content. So that's all a lot nicer. Now let me just show you how gradients work. If I put a gradient in here, I'll say a background gradient from, let's say it's going from the bottom to the top, and the color is going to start from a red 500 and it's going to end with a blue 500. And so now we can see the background is gradiented from the bottom to the top, so that's gradient to top, from red 500, so it's red 500 at the bottom, and it's blue 500 at the top. Now clearly this isn't what we actually want, but it makes it very clear how gradients work. A much better color scheme would be from black to transparent. And this black is quite severe at the very bottom, so I can just make this /70, which means slightly invisible, and now we can actually see the image slightly underneath. You're wondering why on earth we've put it there in the first place. So if I remove it, watch when I save the image. You see how the text is very difficult to read, especially when it's over white. But by providing this sort of gradiented background, put it back in, you can see it just helps to make the text a little bit more readable. Now, the last thing we need to do here is we like the text to only appear when we hover. And this is controlled by opacity. If I say opacity 0, that means it's completely invisible. And if I say opacity 100, it's completely visible. So all we really need to do is set a hover effect to transition from one to the other. So by default, we'll have opacity 0. And then we'll say hover opacity 100 like this. Now, because we're using this hover effect in two children simultaneously, both the image and also the div down here, we do need to use a facility called group hover. So I set this to group and I call this group hover here. And I call this group hover here. But apart from that, it'll work. You see how the text is appearing instantly. Let's just slow the duration down to 700 and we'll share it in both places. And we'll have the transition take 700 in both places. So now that's much nicer, isn't it? So in terms of display of our images, we've now completed that, and the next lesson we're going to move on and start searching and filtering. So I'll see you there.